Hey guys, I'm going to do homework 3-3. Um, it's called a change converter. That should be the name of our class. Let me create a change converter to. Again, I already have this assignment. I don't want to override it, so I'm going to name it change converter 2. You should name yours change converter. Okay. All right. Let's set up our public static void name string. Okay. Args. Okay. Let's look at the assignment now. So write a program that converts change into formatted dollars and cents. It should do the following. Prompt the user for their change in quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies. Read the integers from a keyboard. Again, it's giving you code hints. Read the integers from the keyboard. Right? Calculate the results. Use printf to display the output as $, dollars, cents, right? Your output must be of the format. Plurals, okay, even grammatically incorrect. Excuse me. You entered 6 quarters, 5 dimes, 4 nickels, 3 pennies. The total in dollars is $2.23. Okay. And let's see. Enter the number of quarters. This is a sample run. So this is how it should look. We could go ahead and code this up. Okay, so we know we need quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies. Okay, so basically all the denominations of coins that we have in our system here in the US, quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies, right? Okay. So we could start to do some code. First things first, the prompt. That's always the easiest to knock out. Okay. So enter a number of quarters. Okay. Copy. Let's copy the whole thing so we can minimize how many times we have to look back. These are going to be our I'm going to use a block comment here just to hold this stuff. Right. This is okay. So we do scanner inputs equals new scanner system.in. Okay. Import the scanner class. Sorry, Java.util scanner. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now we know we need some variables. All right. So let's start getting quarters. We could do num. Remember, she said integer to gather an integer. Number quarters. So we could call it number quarters. Let's call it numq. I saw someone naming theirs numq. I think I use a different name, but whatever. We could use numq. Alright, we could say numq for quarters, numd for dimes, numn for nickels, and nump for pennies. Right? And we could start with the first output, which is going to be asking for quarters. Let's use print. Okay, so enter the number of quarters. Okay. Alright. Whoops. it's that plugin problem. Hold on a second. Okay. So enter a number of quarters. Let me get this in quotes. Yeah, good. Got my first prompt going. Let's do numq is equal to inputs dot next init. Right. So great. And now we have system dot out. We're going to grab the other one now. Okay. Let's grab the other one. Okay. Okay. Number of times. Switch to insert. Okay. Nope. Okay, that's space. Number D equals inputs next init. Oh yeah. So we could get number of nickels now. Okay. Okay. Now we get the we did the prompt for a number of nickels, so number n is equal to inputs dot next init. Okay. Quarters, dimes, nickels. Now we need pennies. Yeah. Okay. Number of pennies. Okay. Grab the number of pennies inputs. Num_p equals inputs next init. Okay. Okay. So we could get rid of this comment. It served this purpose. Okay. And now we go back to the instructions. And we're supposed to say you entered and tell like how many quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies, right? So that could be a couple of more outputs. Okay. Now we use println because we want a new line, right? What's the text say? You entered. Copy. Okay. VS Code plugin again. Okay. Now we just say this is good. We can do println I think it's numq, right? Number quarters. Let's make sure we have the spelling correctly. So it's lowercase. Okay. Quarters. Right. Number of quarters is number dimes. Okay. D plus. Let's put a space here because we're going to need a space, otherwise it's going to be joined together. Dimes. System dot out. Println. Quarters, dimes, nickels, plus nickels. Okay. Now we do one more. Oof. Number of pennies plus. Okay. Pennies. Okay. Okay. So this should print out how many of whatever we entered, right? So like we could start to test things now. Let's use the professor's inputs. 1, 2, 3, 2. So 1 quarter, 2, 3, 2. Okay. You entered 1 quarters, 2 dimes, 3 nickels, 2 pennies. But you know what I'm noticing here? It's collecting everything correctly, but the formatting in the output is wrong. So this is like an issue for Zybooks. What could we do here? Okay. It seems like there is 1, 2, 3. There's like 3 spaces before this, right? So since we already did this, we could just do, I mean, I was thinking we could use a format specifier, but we already did all these print lines, so we could just manually put it in 3 spaces, right? We're just giving it 3 spaces. Oh yeah, let me supply the spaces here. It's telling us to print 3 spaces before you print out the digit. Right. Oh, yeah. So that way we can get as close to these iBooks. Now let's test. There's 1, 2, 3, 2. 3, 2. this looks on par with iBooks, right? You could use printf. Let me show you of printf. Right, so I'm going to comment out this one, just in case you want to know how to do it at printf. Okay, so we want number of pennies, the format specifier -d, and we put num p, our variable. This, the value in this num p in this string, this format specifier %d will be replaced with this value according to this format specifier, right? So we want to look like we want 3 spaces from the left. We want to, I think it's left justified. We want to move it 3 spaces. So I'm going to say -3, right? 3 spaces. Okay, we're going to test it. I'm not too sure if it's +3 or -3, but just through some experimentation we could come to the proper format specifier. But let's just see what it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay. Right. So we should probably just use this one, not negative. I think that puts it to the right or to the left. So let's see. Let's run it again. Okay. Now we see that it moved over, but it's a little bit off. It should be about 4. I might have miscounted there, but this is how this format and output thing is, really, to tell you the truth. You kind of just tweak things until you get it to your liking. Okay, voila, that's our line. So 4 spaces from the left. If we wanted to put the spaces on the right, we use the negative. Right, so just, we use some experimentation there to figure out the spacing. You can use it like this. You can use this printf like this to do the same thing up here. But since I had already typed these out without realizing I needed spacing, I just went ahead and did them already, right? And just to stay consistent with how I'm writing the code, I'm going to continue using this one. And I'll just comment this out, right? Okay, so now we need total change, right? So the total change, we know we're going to need a double or a float. Let's use a double. We could use a float, but yeah, let's use a float, right? So it's float total change, right? Okay. And this is just a preference, but I like to have my declarations like this. It's cascading. It's slowly getting wider and wider. Kind of like a pyramid almost. It's just easier to read. That's one of my preferences. And unless there's something really important that I should group things together to like convey a more clearer message to someone reading the code, right? So okay, so I have total change. So total change. change is going to equal. Well, we have to think about the math. How do we represent a penny? Right? A penny is 1 out of 100. Right? Excuse me. 1 out of 100. Scientific mode. 1 out of 100. This is the decimal representation of what a penny is in $1. So we do this, right? 0.01. We're going to use F because we're dealing with floats, right? This is when we have literals, decimal literals. And we're assigning them to floats. We signify that by following the decimal number with an F. Okay, times P, number of pennies, right? Then we do plus, right? And then we do, what's the higher one? Nickels, 0.05, because that's the decimal representation of a nickel relative to $1, times number of N, right? Plus 0. Forgot my F. Okay, 0.0. So we have pennies, nickels, dimes. Now we need this decimal representation for a dime relative to $1. Okay, times number of dimes, num-d, plus, and the next one is a quarter, right? 0.25f times num-q, right? That should give us our total change. And we can do a simple system dot out print total change. Let's just check before we get fancy and start the format. Seeing is believing. We could just check. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 2. Interesting. So I get 62 cents. What's happening here? So I have total change. See, 1 quarter, 2 dimes. No, this is right. 1 quarter, 2 dimes. That's 20 plus 25 is 45. 3 nickels is 60. 2 pennies, 62 cents. Yeah, so this is right. So that works. Right. Now let's go back. And she wants this output. Copy. Right, she wants that output. So we could go ahead and get rid of this. Right, we're going to have to use the format specifier. System.out.printf. And next v. Okay, and we're going to swap this out for a format specifier. We keep the $sign. We add the percent sign. Dash dot 2f, the precision operator here, I think is what it's called, but we're going to print to 2 decimal places, right? And let's see, then we're going to supply total change. Yeah, this should run properly. Let's see, run without debugging. Okay. Let's see if we can get the exact output the professor had. So 6 quarters, 5 dimes, 4 nickels. So 65.43. That's how I'm going to remember it. 6, 5, 4, 3. There we go. The total in dollars, $2.23. Yep. So this is how you do this one. Alright, and just some general advice. computer science major, like you're going to keep seeing Java for the next 4 years. Completing the assignments is important, right? But don't rush the assignments. Like these iBooks, try to soak it up. Really try to understand. You won't understand everything right away, but try to understand, I would say, like 80, 70, 80% of it. A general sense. Try to get a general sense of what you're doing. And do your due diligence. Practice. Do all the assignments in the iBooks. Try to do all the homeworks. And if you're done with that, get a book on Java. Try to get ahead of the class. Try to program every day. I would say at least 15 to 30 minutes a day. If you could do more, that's fantastic. Programming just seems very hard in the beginning at these levels. It's really not. It's just a matter of you applying yourself, and over time you'll reap the rewards. It's going to be frustrating, and a lot of times you're just going to be feeling like, for lack of a better word, dumb. But that's not the case. It's just a natural progression for everyone. And it never really goes away, that feeling of trying to figure out what the hell you're doing. It's just different levels. Like comp 167, 4 years from now is going to seem easy to you. Very easy to you. Well, your 400 class is just going to be like comp 167. It's going to be a headache. But eventually you move past that point too. So, don't give up, and just try to do your due diligence. Research things. Try to figure out what's happening. Get good at reading the technical stuff in iBooks and understanding it. That's the most important part of being a technician in computers, right? Just your ability to pull information out of technical documentation is very important. It's what separate the women from the girls and the men from the boys. Your ability to self-learn and keep calm even when it looks like something is out of your control or you don't understand what you're going, but you're gradually pushing through and then eventually come to some kind of understanding to make an effective change in whatever you're trying to go forward for, whether it be an assignment at work or a personal project, etc. Do not freak out. This happened to everyone. I swear to God, it happened to me. It's happening to me right now. I'm learning Java every day. Little quirks of the language and whatnot, I'm learning it. I just have experience, so it helps me get through this easier stuff. But trust me, I have things I'm struggling with. The professor has things she's struggling with. Everyone. It's just, that's the nature of the beast. Do not get freaked out. You persevere, you get rewarded. Eventually, those things that seem difficult will become easy. And then you'll move on to something else that's hard and you'll be frustrated with. All right? All right, have a good day, guys.